Hey everyone, it's Flak. Battlefield 1's upcoming map based on the Zeebrugge Raid has now been spotted on the community test environment. Although it's still early in development, Zeebrugge is shaping up to be a fantastic map with some actual naval combat. Zeebrugge is based on a real-world raid, which could best be described as, well, completely insane, and DICE have actually modeled the map on the engagement. For this video, I'll take a look at the actual plan for the Zeebrugge Raid and see how DICE brought it to life in Battlefield 1. Zeebrugge was one of several German naval bases during World War I, and home to many submarines that were crippling Entente shipping. The occupied Belgian port featured concrete pens for U-boats, making air attack and naval bombardment ineffective. On the map in Battlefield 1, these pens are present along the mole, as are two submarines. The submarines on the Zeebrugge map are both placeholders named U-118, which hadn't actually been completed at the time. U-118 does have an interesting story, however. After the war, she broke loose during a tow and washed up off Hastings in Sussex. Unable to destroy the submarines by conventional means, British Admiral Roger Keyes proposed a more unorthodox plan: trapping them in the port. And here's how it was supposed to work. The antiquated cruiser HMS Vindictive was to attack the mole directly, acting as a distraction while three block ships, HMS Thetis, Intrepid, and Iphigenia, were maneuvered and purposefully sunk in the mouth of the Bruges Canal. Royal Marines were to pour from the deck of Vindictive and her supporting ships, knocking out the German guns on the mole. Submarines C1 and C3 were packed with explosives and instructed to target the viaduct connecting the mole to land. Once the viaduct was destroyed, the mole would be cut off from German reinforcements, but all of this was set to occur at night. It may sound simple enough, but in reality, the Zeebrugge Raid closely followed Murphy's Law of what can go wrong will. Shortly after midnight on April 23, 1918, HMS Vindictive attacked the mole according to plan. She was unfortunately forced to land troops in the wrong location, and gunfire from the German defenders was hellish. Many Royal Marines never left the deck of Vindictive, cut down in a hail of bullets and shells. In Battlefield 1, HMS Vindictive is actually present on the Zeebrugge map and acts as the E flag on Conquest Assault. She is modeled very closely after the Arrogant-class cruiser. Even her ramps are present, with players having to climb up them onto the mole. Historically, Vindictive's situation was complicated by the unexpected presence of a German destroyer opposite the cruiser's landing site. Now, that destroyer isn't present on the Battlefield 1 map, but both sides can use a destroyer as a vehicle. Prior to the raid, Vindictive was refitted with a variety of close-quarters weapons, including a flamethrower. The ship's foretop was reinforced with additional armor and padding, as well as two QF 1-pounder guns designed to fire down onto the Germans defending the mole. In the build on the CTE, Vindictive's foretop wasn't accessible, but DICE did nail the ship's aesthetics. With Vindictive under fire, the British submarine C3, packed with explosives, was detonated at the mole's weakest point off to the west. This did sever the mole's connection to land and to German reinforcements. In Battlefield 1's version of Zeebrugge, the work of C3 has already been done. The viaduct lies shattered, and players must swim between the A and B flags. As for the block ships, HMS Thetis, Intrepid, and Iphigenia steamed towards the mouth of the port. Thetis was disabled and scuttled prematurely, but Intrepid and Iphigenia were successfully scuttled in the canal entrance. If you skirt the boundaries of the map in Battlefield 1, you can actually spot Intrepid and Iphigenia scuttled in the canal, while Thetis lies nearby. With the mission complete, Vindictive withdrew and limped back home. In just a little over an hour of combat, the raid left in its wake an estimated 227 dead and 356 wounded British soldiers and sailors. Only 8 Germans were killed and 16 wounded. Nevertheless, the raid was celebrated by the British as a great victory, but it had minimal impact on German submarines operating out of the port, making it a tactical failure. Still, it provided a serious boost to morale during the time of the German Spring Offensive in 1918. Vindictive would later be scuttled herself in the port of Ostend during a similar operation about 2 weeks later. Regardless of impact, the Zeebrugge Raid is often considered the biggest special operation of World War I, so it's exciting to see it added to Battlefield 1. As for the design of the map itself, the mole inherently makes it a linear map. However, vehicles are plentiful, and players can use the water on either side of the mole as an excellent flanking route. There is a ton of cover and much more verticality than I had expected. The map is also much larger than it appears from the deploy screen. In my opinion, Zeebrugge is the first Battlefield 1 map to properly feature naval combat. Torpedo boats are everywhere, and the dreadnought behemoth arrives to help the losing team. Players can also choose between the new Coastal-class airship or the destroyer as a new vehicle class. In the current build, both seem pretty weak and can be taken out quickly, so I would expect DICE to buff their health based on player feedback. In the few matches I was able to play on Zeebrugge, most were actually quite close, and comments from other players were also favorable. Personally, I'm impressed with the amount of historical detail DICE has managed to squeeze into the map while still keeping it fun to play. Zeebrugge is part of the second half of Turning Tides and due out sometime in January with the yet-to-be-revealed Heligoland Bight map. The Gallipoli-themed maps Cape Helles and Achibaba are set to arrive on December 11th. Are you excited for full-fledged naval combat in Battlefield 1? What about participating in the daring Zeebrugge Raid? Tell me in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, share on social media like Facebook and Twitter, be sure to subscribe and enable notifications. To take your Battlefield 1 game to the next level, check out the Battlefield 1 Ultimate Utility app with a link in the video description. And as always, thanks for watching.